Ambassador Christoph Heusgen, you are the long-time security policy advisor of Angela Merkel. In the past, you were also Germany's UN ambassador. Now you're the future head of the Munich Security Conference. So when you look towards that border where Russia faces Ukraine, how close is Europe to war there?
Well, you just mentioned that I was the diplomatic advisor to Chancellor Merkel, and of course I lived through the period 2013, 14, 15, the aggression of Russia, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. So when you look at the situation today, you remember what happened 8 years ago. When the sanctions hit, then Russia scaled back their attacks. We don't want to have this, see that repeat itself. What we want this time is to have this very strong, massive reaction put into the window, so to speak, so that Russia knows exactly what happens if they actually take the step that Putin, indicated they are ready to take.
Well, we still don't know a sanctions list yet from the European side. At the same time, we are hearing that Britain, also the United States, are bringing back some of the diplomatic staff in the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. We have a political storm across the West, also with the German Navy chief stepping down after basically saying that Putin probably deserves respect. So how united is the West at the moment, and how much is it believing in itself in this confrontation?
No, you could see that, when this German admiral said what he said, he was, the same day, basically, he was suspended from work. This demonstrates that there is unity in the German government, there is unity in Europe, there is unity with the US. I think we are, by the way, we're very happy also with the way our American friends are coordinating this.
How much more responsibility does Germany have to take? Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor, is still sitting on the fence over the issue of Nord Stream 2. He tries to avoid mentioning it, also says that everything has to be on the table. Germany also doesn't want to send any arms into the region. It's citing historic reasons. Is Germany taking enough responsibility here?
Well, Germany plays a very important role. We already did last time around when, after Russia invaded Ukraine, it was Chancellor Merkel together with President Hollande who got President Poroshenko and Putin around the table. We sealed the Minsk agreement, we stopped the aggression, and you just mentioned correctly that the German Chancellor has actually said that all options are on the table, including the options of Nord Stream 2. And this is very, very important that we clearly tell the Russians that there is nothing off the table when they actually take the step and invade Ukraine again.
What's your take on what Putin actually wants?
Putin, you have to deal with Putin for a long time. We have seen that in all the post-Soviet space. We have seen it from Georgia, we have seen it in Ukraine, we saw it last year in Belarus, we've seen it a few weeks ago in Kazakhstan. People are very unhappy with the post-Soviet world. And Putin, of course, is afraid that this could also spill over to Russia. Therefore, he is playing now a very tough game on its opposition. It's a very nationalistic course that Putin is driving right now, where he sees his population. When you look at the media in Russia, all very nationalistic. This is how Putin believes that he can keep his people happy and doesn't have to face opposition as seen in other countries. And this is part of his game, is his very nationalistic policy. So he has clear intentions there. And this is where I think we have to understand what he tries to achieve, and we have to stay tough and tell him that this is where the buck stops. But at the same time, and this is, I think we did very well as international community, keep all channels open, see to it that we talk and see how, also in a face-saving way, he can get out of, where he has maneuvered himself into.
So what's his key aim? Is it to destabilize Europe? Is it to destabilize Ukraine and recreate a Soviet-style sphere of influence around Russia?
Yes, he has said that the fall of the Soviet Union was the biggest catastrophe of the 20th century, and he's trying to re-establish a kind of a Soviet Union Russia style. So he's trying to destabilize the European Union, the countries, because he doesn't want to see our models to succeed, because this could give his own citizens an idea that they want also a democratic life, they want a flourishing civil society.
Now, let's look at Olaf Scholz, Germany's new chancellor. He's done something in relation to China that you, as Angela Merkel's advisor and the former Chancellor Merkel, tried to avoid, which is to directly address the question where Europe stands between the United States and China. He said that Germany should not become a billiard ball between those two powers. Is that a mistake to even ask that question?
Well, I said earlier that Germany plays a very important role now in the question of the Ukraine conflict. Germany overall has assumed a more active role in world politics, and people are asking for this. We do this when you look at the Balkans, we're very active. The Chancellor Merkel had the Libya conference where we tried to get Libya on a democratic way, and there was some success in there. We are now more active in the Sahel. We defend a rules-based international order. This is our position also towards conflicts that we see with China. We insisting on implementing the rule of law. So it's not that we stay with one side or the other, but we insist on the respect for international law, for the UN Charter, for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This is our position.
How delicate is the balance between economic interests and those rules that you just cited?
It's, as I said, with regard to Russia, it's always very important that you talk, that you keep all channels open, that you discuss. What is very important that you don't become too dependent on one country. You have to see that you diversify. You have to be clear. You must not be in a situation where you can be blackmailed. So diversification in trade is very important. This also is true for our economic relationship with China.
You mentioned the Sahel region. The Sahel region is strategically important for Europe, also for Germany. Germany has a large Bundeswehr military mission there. How concerning is the destabilization of Mali that we're seeing right now?
No, it is very concerning. The Sahel room is important for us. It is for the population there. It is also with regard to possible flows of refugees. It is a region that is close to Europe, so we have to be active there. And I think when you look back over the last years, Germany has never been as active in Africa as we are right now. In the framework of the G7, Chancellor Merkel launched the Compact with Africa, where you regularly have important African countries participate in G7 meetings. So it's very important.
What action is needed there right now? What action is needed on Mali?
But what is very important, and this is for me also one of the conclusions from our engagement in Afghanistan, this applies also to Mali. I think it's important that we are there to help stabilize, but what you need is a partner. You need a national government that also is committed to the rule of law, that is committed to build independent institutions, that is committed also to the rule of law, civil society. If a government is not ready to do that, then it doesn't make sense to stick there and support that government militarily, because it will in the end not succeed. So I'm very much in favor of an engagement, but it has to be on a partnership agreement, and you have to see and one has to recognize that what the partner government does is actually good for the development of that country, for the implementation of the sustainable development goals, which are key for the implementation of good education, strong institutions. If that is not the case, we have to leave the country.
And if there's no reliable partner, like in Afghanistan, where NATO, the US, Germany left, is it the right step to start diplomatic talks with a regime like the Taliban, like they are now taking place in Norway?
I think that you have in all, when you look at conflicts worldwide over history, even with partners where you never thought you would talk to, if there are some back channel talks, if you are and see how you can resolve issues, and there are problems where we of course see how bad the situation is in Afghanistan for women in part of the country, the humanitarian situation. Just to say, okay, we won't talk to you, we will not engage. This is not the right way. I think this careful way forward. Norway has a tradition in these kind of talks, to organize these kind of talks. I think it's something positive.
Now, you are due to take over as the head of the Munich Security Conference. How much of an issue will be the perceived weakness of Joe Biden back home as US president?
President Biden, a bit like in a totally different way from President Trump, perhaps in similar way as President Obama, is concentrating on the domestic issues, and the US faces a lot of problems, and that the US government is focusing on those problems is only legitimate. What is important is nevertheless that we keep the US engaged in foreign policy as an important partner, and I see that happening with the Biden administration. In the Ukraine crisis, you could see how much they reached out to Europeans, how much they tried to coordinate the action, and that is something positive. And the Munich Security Conference will be a reflection of this positive development that I see during these last weeks.
Ambassador Christoph Heusgen, former advisor to Angela Merkel and future head of the Munich Security Conference, thank you very much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.